and Christchurch, and not just as an opportunity for that side of the House to use their union mates to incite protest and rallies. Our kids are better than that. Our kids deserve better than that. Education is above politics, Mr Speaker. It's above politics, and so it should be.
Speaker.
I call the Honourable Minister Amy Adams.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. Mr Speaker, I am pleased that we've had the chance to have this debate in the House today, actually, because, for one, I am getting heartily tired of all the misinformation, scaremongering and dribble coming from stirrers in the opposition parties and certain other interest groups in the sector. Mr Speaker, like my colleague who's just resumed her seat, it is pretty hard to sit in this House and hear speaker after speaker from the opposition benches who don't come from Canterbury, who aren't living with this situation, stand up and frankly patronise the people of Canterbury and those of us who are working very hard to try and not only repair and rebuild what we have, Mr Speaker, but to take the opportunity that this horrible set of circumstances has given us and to promise the people of Canterbury not just putting back what we had, but building something far, far better. Mr Speaker, the earthquakes changed our lives and they changed our landscape. There's no question about that. And we all know that the difficulties didn't end with the portaloos and the liquefaction and the demolition. These difficulties are real, we are living them every day, and they will continue while we go through this rebuild period. But the one thing that we hold on to, Mr Speaker, the one thing that makes this bearable for us in Canterbury is that we have a vision of a city that we're going to get from this process. We are going to have the best small city in the world, as Minister Brownlee has told us. The people of Selwyn and Waimakariri who share in the futures of Christchurch City know that. The people of Christchurch know that. The opportunity for us now is to take this terrible tragedy that has happened to us and build from it. To offer our citizens the chance not just to go back to what we had, but to build something far, far better. And Mr Speaker, that's what my colleague Minister Parata has been working at ever since she took the portfolio and before her Minister Tolley. And I have sat in numerous meetings where I have heard opposition members and stakeholder groups complain that it was all taking too long and what our community wants were answers. So what did Ms Parata and Minister Brownlee announced last week, sir? Well, first and foremost, they announced a $1 billion investment into education in Canterbury. A $1 billion investment. They announced, sir, that 173 of the 215 schools could get on with some certainty. And let's not forget that. And sir, I have had a number of emails from principals in my electorate thanking us for that. One principal emailed me last week and said he wanted to pass on his thanks. He said it was a landmark day for his school and his community. Finally getting word that the rebuild would be happening in the immediate future was truly amazing. It's unbelievable. Another has emailed me to say that the news that the school was going to be repaired was received with great relief and celebration. Now, sir, I'm not saying this to diminish the difficulties for the 20-odd schools that are in a period of uncertainty. Sir, I don't want to diminish that for a minute. I know those communities will find this very tough to work through, and we're going to be helping them every step of the way. But let's remember, these are proposals. They are proposals, sir. At some point, you have to come up with a set of ideas. You have to talk to the community about them. And if the community thinks there's a better way of dealing with the challenges we face, then of course we'll listen to that. Now let's reflect on a couple of things in this, sir. As well as the 173 schools who have had their futures confirmed, 40 of them can get on with fast-track rebuilding projects. 23 school pools will be repaired in time for the summer season. We've got 2 brand new schools immediately green-lighted, one in Pegasus and one in Rolleston, and we have a major expansion green-lighted straight away in Horsville. Now, in my own community, sir, I know the schools of Green Park, of Burnham, of Yaldhurst, of Devotial, of O'Kane's and Le Bons do face change, although I acknowledge that Le Bons have actually requested that change, so we have to accept that. And sir, to hear, I said Burnham, Mr Cosgrove, if you were listening, to hear speakers in this House suggest that this should only be limited to schools that have had massive earthquake damage is simply wrong. These schools face earthquake damage, they face population loss, they face earthquake strengthening, they face leaky building issues, and they face, some of them, other educational challenges. So we have to look at all of these matters before we spend a considerable investment of taxpayers' money and make sure we are spending it for the best future for the children of New Zealand. That's not going back and repairing old schools in communities with populations who are dropping. It is saying what is the best thing we can do for our children. Here is a proposal. We want those communities to talk to us. I congratulate Minister Parata, and I note that not one speaker in this House who's criticised her has come up with any better way that something of this magnitude and this challenge could have been handled.
Honourable Clayton Cosgrove.
Mr. Speaker, I for one